Hey guys, this is Jay Calder of Jay Unboxing here, giving you a personal prediction for Emanuel Navarrete versus Liam Wilson. And as always, this is just my take. Your predictions can be left down in the comments section below. Have a feeling what you guys are going to be picking in this one, but would love to know the method as well, so please be sure to drop that down in the comments section below. A little bit of fight info here. We have Navarrete taking on Wilson. This will be at the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. Feels like there's a new arena in Arizona every time we come back here, but nonetheless, at least it's becoming something of a hub for boxing. That's pretty cool. This will be airing on ESPN here in the United States for the vacant WBO Junior Lightweight title. Now, let's be honest here and get this one kind of out of the way. This is a likely mismatch if things go the way most people expect them to go. Navarrete is a massive favorite and is likely to win this fight. More on the odds in a bit, but the reason it gets a prediction here is that this fight falls on a weekend of pretty lopsided fights, or at least on paper for the most part, and we want to cover something at least. Of course, we're boxing fans. We're going to watch boxing anyway. Also, Navarrete is moving up, and you never know for sure how that works, how his body adjusts until you see it. So there's a little intrigue there. And besides, it can be fun to predict sort of exact outcomes or methods anyway, even if the winner seems inevitable. So without much more justification here, let's break this one down. Starting with Navarrete, for Navarrete to win, I think you want to land the right hand over the top. Wilson makes a habit of keeping the jab away from home for too long. He jabs pretty well, actually, but he just doesn't bring it back for defense. Your awkward style means that you can kind of land that lead hand anyway, but especially if he's leaving that jab lingering, so to speak. So it'll even have more effect if you're able to come over the top with it. This also can push Wilson back and allow for your combinations to be more effective as you start putting them together once the rounds wear on. Wilson tries to box a little bit more like a boxer puncher and backing up, but he's certainly not nearly as effective on the back foot. So if you can use that shot over the top to punish him for that jab and then press him back, it's all the better for you and all the more success on the night. I would also say keep it messy. That's usual for a Navarrete fight. Doesn't mean you're going to be crazy or sloppy, but it does mean that you're going to use the style that brings you to the game, so to speak. You're not needing to switch it up, especially against a guy that, quite frankly, you should be better than anyway. Messier the better for the Mexican. That does not mean be reckless. That does not mean that you're going to just jump in, lunge in, and get caught with something silly, but it just means impose your style on the fight, your pace, your kind of helter-skelter approach to the fight. Make sure that that's imprinted on this contest. This will also force Wilson to have to gamble a bit more as he can't safely commit because he doesn't know where the shots are coming from. That, of course, makes it easier for you to capitalize because you're dictating the terms of this contest. And, of course, work your combinations. You don't want to rely on single shots. That makes it a much more even contest with a more traditional fighting style that Wilson might have. You're going to want to rely on more punches in bunches in this fight. This will be your best way to push Wilson back, as I've mentioned before, which is going to be something you're going to look to do in this fight anyway. And then you can take the fight to Wilson when he likes to come forward more offensively. You can simply blow him back with those shots because, again, they're coming from angles and from trajectories that he's not expecting, but that you're more in control of. And the combinations will be the sort of fruit of that labor when you're keeping things a lot more interesting, shall we say, with your approach. Now, for Wilson to win, I think you want to keep a busy jab, but the but's there for a reason. Don't get carried away. Don't allow for too many countering opportunities with someone who's awkward like Navarrete by leaving the jab out there. You can't just keep it floating out in front of you as you try to pepper away with it. Yes, score with it. Get some openings going, but you want to make sure you're bringing it back safely and in time so you're not being countered over the top. Furthermore, Navarrete has longer reach, so you're going to need to double it up to try and press him back and make him reset, and you're going to have to be more careful to not be tagged with something in return by being lazy with it, of course. Just make sure you're bringing it back home and defending with it. Snap it out there a bit more. Don't just pepper it all the time. If you're pressing them a bit more, of course, that's fine, but you want to make sure you're being a lot more mature with how you're utilizing the jab as opposed to just trying to score with it and being a bit too loose with it over the course of this fight. I would also say don't rush in. One of the biggest mistakes that Navarrete opponents make is that they get a little bit frustrated and rush in. You don't need to do that. You need to get inside, but it can't be done in a wild manner. Navarrete likes it messy, so you're going to need to use that jab to kind of compose him and keep him a bit more under wraps while you try to close the gap. You can work to the body, make him feel your size potentially on the inside by going to the body with that left hook. You have a very good one. So you can use this, of course, to punish him, make him feel your side, and push him back. But again, do it behind that double jab. That's more responsible, pushing him back and digging to the body. I think that will be your best success on the night. And as I just alluded to, of course, work the left hook. That ties into attacking on the inside, as we mentioned, and doing so in a more professional manner. But again, you also want to have some other benefits from it, which you will have, of course. It'll lower the guard. It can tire Navarrete. Maybe he tires at the new weight. Maybe he's a bit softer around the midsection. The body attack will bring that out in him. Of course, this also opens up opportunities over the top, upstairs, when you're throwing to the body and making him wonder where that left hook is going to land. Again, it's probably your best singular shot, so switching it up will keep him guessing and give you your best chance for success when you're throwing the shot. Now, in terms of my pick here, well, I can try to make an argument for Wilson, as I just did. My pick has to be with the heavy favorite in Navarrete. I think the pair will get going early on in the opening of the fight, but Navarrete will land with more meaningful shots and push Wilson back more often than not. As the rounds wear on, Navarrete will land over the jab of Wilson, as I've kind of mentioned there, knocking his head back, scoring well, and marking up his man in the process. In those middle frames, I think, is where really the action will begin to unfold in Navarrete's favor, where he will drop Wilson, who beats the count, but will still be hurt. He might survive the round, but I think the overall attack and the odd angles and style of Navarrete will begin to get to him, as he's ultimately stopped, perhaps in the round he drops or in the next one, before we reach those late frames. Winner, Emanuel Navarrete via mid-fight stoppage. And in terms of the betting odds, as I have alluded to, Navarrete is a huge favorite at a minus 1,800. Zero value there. We don't need to get into that anymore, with Wilson coming in at a plus 920. And really, that line is only interesting for three reasons. Either you're a guy who likes a long shot, in which case, God bless you, or you really think the weight change is going to impact Navarrete and maybe his ability to impose his style, or you just never rated Navarrete in the first place, and this is the time for you to kind of strike on getting a pick right against him. If it's any of those three, at that odds of a 9-1, of course, I'd say take it. Outside of that, there's a reason the odd is so wide. You're probably not going to get this one to come home for you. It just isn't going to happen. The more interesting odd, of course, is the over-under, which is set at a 6.5. I think that's right around the perfect spot, as I've kind of alluded to with my own personal pick. The over you have as a minus 140, with the under coming in at even. Really good odds, like I said, set for this either way. Just kind of depends on your personal preference. I think it maybe fades a little late just because of the weight change. Maybe Navarrete doesn't have singular power the way he sometimes can at the lower weights, so it might take a few more rounds to get it in. I think it's a decently set odd, so kind of just depends on your preference, but in any event, those are your odds. And my prediction record as of this recording is 1-2 with one exact, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Again, I expect most of you will have the same pick in mind, but what do you think about the method? I'd love to hear your picks, predictions, bets, all that good stuff down there. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, jcalderon_JOB. You can email me at junboxing@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you there. Be sure to check out junboxing.com for schedule, results, betting odds, rankings, news, all that good stuff. And as always, until next time.